There we go. How you doing tonight, Shush? Walking through the forest again? Oh, that was actually Lee. Lee was Lee was the one walking through the forest. Okay. We'll
George.
give it a
Hello.
few minutes here. Let some folks join us.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Our pleasure.
You're a gold mine.
Everything played out today, didn't it? Just
Yeah, it was
right
beautiful.
to the targets.
It was beautiful.
And then, of course, it just kind of bombed out when it reached the top. Even made it to the minor has to hold. Didn't go like much further past a couple points. Yeah, it's just gonna struggle up here for a little bit. We'll see what it
Oh,
does.
I think I was out of the market by then.
Yeah, kind of like we were alluding to in the room today, but I'd mentioned that like it's not even worth talking about just because it's so much between here and there. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. But they've got the really big hurdle they have to overcome up here at 824 half. So we'll probably mark that tomorrow, assuming we don't get some like collapse overnight. We'll come in one day at a time, see how it goes. Do you have any questions, Shush, that you want to cover since you're here early enough?
Yes, I think that you had mentioned that the best place to enter is the has to hold, support resistance, and then
Hmm.
the rubber band. And then you
Yep.
said that sometimes the hurdle can be a good entry too. I wanted
Yep.
to look at the scenario where it is a good entry because is it when it's
Sure.
within those targets or so that's one thing I wanted to understand. Because,
Sure.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. Yeah. So right. So um, the hurdle and the has to hold are very similar. Okay, they're not exactly the same, but they're very similar in that it's kind of the last opportunity for the market to make that last minute pivot. Okay. So as a result, um, like you take this morning, for instance, and I'd have to go down, I'd probably have to go down like a time frame. I'm not even sure exactly what it did between 9:35 and 9:40. Like, did it, I don't remember. Does anybody remember? Did it like dip first and then go? I forget. Um, but in either fashion. So you can I so well, let's just look at the ES. We'll take that one as our option here since it was a has to hold. And again, because they react very similarly, they both did it at the same time of day anyway. So you can see obviously it got to the has to hold here. Let me look at some other. I want to look at the other time frame. I have a feeling it dipped if I remember correctly. Like it got there and then it like puttered out for a second and then shot through. Anyhow, um, so the counter trend would be the has to hold, right? Because obviously we are. If you look back, like just look to your left, right? What have we been doing? Obviously, we've been in like climbing up. So that would have been a counter trend trade at the has to hold. And I had mentioned it at the time is that if you take this, right, if you take this has to hold short, obviously, because we're climbing into it, if you took it short, you absolutely have to take profit here at the decision point. Okay. And you can hold some if that's, you know, you got enough contracts on and you can actually do that. obviously it didn't do anything of the sort, right? Like it didn't even really stop at the has to hold this
Mhm.
morning. So nevertheless, it's still the same thing in mind, which is that okay, has to hold at 45. It peaked out around 48 half. Depending upon how you're trading, maybe you held through that just enough. But when it closed above, right here on the 940 candle, when it closed above, the best thing to do, the best practice is just to let it go, right? Just give it up, and you're only talking like ticks, like literal maybe a point of actual loss, right? Which is why I'd said at the time, I was like, watch the candle close, watch the candle close. It was probably the longest 5 minutes of my life this morning.
Mhm.
I'm like, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? And it finally closed above. At which point, just get out, right? If you took it short, which I did, I just got out. So I took, I think, about a point and a quarter loss on that trade. So, like, so be it. Then again, this is all in hindsight, right? Like it's super easy in hindsight. But the has to hold, and even we'll flip back over to the NQ, the hurdle, and kind of see how they're reacting, right? Like it's the same concept in mind. Little slightly different candle pattern, being a 5 minute, 5 minute for 5 minute candle pattern. It's a little different in that respect, but it's the same thing. Like they couldn't even muster up getting back below that. And we've said this before, is that if it can push through it, the hurdle becomes 100% the most aggressive chasing entry period, right? Because again, if we're already above target one and we get to in this case, I actually remember saying that too, is that this morning it was rather fascinating that the hurdle came after the target. I thought that was rather interesting. They have done it before in the past, they just don't do it very often. So either way, you can see what I'm talking about. It uses it as the most aggressive. I personally was not willing to enter long up here beyond this, but again, that was just me having my own thoughts with respect to I just wanted a better buy is really all it boiled down to. I just felt like this thing could come back at least enough, and we were talking about numbers like 88, if you guys recall, on the NQ, and then of course the decision point over here on the ES. This is where I had the bulk of my buys, and then I even had additional ones down here at the 2718, which was the has to hold of that move, if you recall.
Yeah.
So to answer your question or to continue that, is that you can see obviously what happens and where you can engage, just as long as you have the clarity of realizing like, okay, I'm doing the math real quick. 45 is the has to hold, or in this case, the hurdle on the NQ. 45 the has to hold. Well, where's my first target? It's at 57. Okay. It's a 12-point run between here and there. So step one is that move in and of itself, like as a standalone trade, is that move worth it for you, right? And then same question, like what am I willing to risk? Um, Again, I just wasn't willing to do it, so I didn't. I waited the whole morning and I took this thing short at 11 o'clock and I took it down to the first target and I had it for the day. I'm like, all right, well, I'm done. Because at the same time, like I also get frustrated to the point that like I'm kind of bummed that I didn't, get in here. Like it's not that I don't know it, but I was definitely waiting for it to come in a little closer to the decision point, at least. At least the decision point. I was blown away that they just grind that thing up the way they did. So does that make sense?
Yeah, but then I'm looking at a scenario, a play where the has to hold is a discounted price, the best discounted price, and the rubber band is the best premium price. Is there a scenario where the hurdle
Mhm.
is not a chasing entry, but a good discounted price or a premium to sell? Does that
Preparing
make
yourself?
sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's true in both cases. Yes.
So can you give me a scenario where it's a premium price or a discounted price? Where is it where it's
Probably.
placed
I
in
bet we could
the
probably find one here. Let's
okay.
just scroll back. I'll bet we could.
Yeah.
I'll bet we could find one that we've done in the recent
I hope I made sense.
days. So not there. There you go. This is what I was looking for. This is exactly. Can you see this section right here?
Yes.
This is
Okay.
precisely what I was looking for this morning because I have seen this play out more times than I can count. I've seen exactly that play out so many times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're heading down. We blew through the decision point, got our nice solid candle close here at 11:45, hit our hurdle, came right back to the decision point. So my plan was to re-enter in this. I actually took this trade. I remember this one specifically, but I took that one short as it came back to the decision point down to these targets. So I was waiting. I wasn't trying to short the hurdle. That was not my intention at all today. It wasn't my intention here on this day either.
Oh,
But
okay.
I what I recommend is like it's better. It's 80% of the time because today, it just went, oh well. But 80% of the time, it's better to, and again, just look at your proximity of everything, right? Like take the whole story into account at all times, never discount anything. But in this scenario, I'm looking at this going, all right, this is back below expected. Like we've gone through expected low, right?
Hmm.
That's another huge hint that one, we went through the decision point and we went through expected low, right? Like we're going to get a whole readjustment of the core levels based on what's happening right here. So yeah, I'm looking at those two things and going, man, if we can get through here, touch that hurdle, and come back to the decision point, I'm game on. Let's do this,
Mm.
knowing full well that it could bounce above here, and then I just look at my surroundings. Go, okay, well, what's above it? All right, we had a previous has to hold right here. Can I handle that? Yeah, it's 2 3 points. All right, no problem. So I'm willing to jump in here, knowing full well that it could come up, and still retag the previous price. But
Okay.
that's textbook, and this is what I aim for personally, because you
Okay.
probably have seen this 1,000 times too at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think as I go through trying to notice some of these patterns or
Hmm.
plays.
Yeah, it's better to counter trend the hurdle most
Okay.
times. Again, take into context other things like the NQ today was strange. I didn't
Oh,
counter trend that hurdle because that hurdle came in again after the target. That was weird.
mm,
That's a strange
okay.
place to like again. How many times have we seen this? We're moving, we're going, we hit a decision point. Oh, all right, guys, they threw a hurdle in, right? Like how many times we say that?
Yeah. So many
And
times.
it's
Yeah.
always, it's like not always, but that's probably 99% of the time. It's between whatever the decision point is and the first target. So yeah, I looked at the NQ and went, something's up. That's off. That's not normal. But this is precisely what I was hoping for, and it just never played out. So as it blew through today, went through the hurdle and just kept climbing, I was like, well, I'm not chasing it. I'm not going to do it. I don't care where it goes. And then it's just a matter of patience to wait for it to get all the way to the rubber band. I don't know. I literally only made 7 points today, but what do you do?
Oh, okay. So I
But
took that aggressive entry to go up. In fact, I took the hurdle down and then got out and then flipped up and then took a long.
okay, perfect. Yeah, you can totally do that. I mean, it's not, yeah, because again, there's all that really is in play there is that there's no crystal ball, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knows for sure that it's not going to hit this has to hold and then come right back to the decision point and maybe even fail the decision point and come back to the 18, right? So the point being is we had it all mapped out. It didn't matter which of those scenarios it played out, whether it shoots from here, which again, it's the most aggressive. Like it's not only the most aggressive, it's the most chasing. Nothing had been this high in days, right? Like you just scroll back. We haven't been back up here in quite a while. So to say I'm like now I'm convinced, right? Now I'm going to go long. Fine, as long as you're doing it knowing full well like what is price, and then what happens when this price breaks. What's your next move? Well, next move is buy here. Okay, what happens if that breaks? All right, well, it has to hold down at 218. What if it never makes it to 218? What if it stops at like expected low at 24? That's actually a great question for you, Shush. Like, what would happen if let's play this out because these are great to actually do as an exercise. Let's say we went here, went back to the hurdle, or sorry, has to hold, went back and blew through, hit the 3M, came back to the decision point, and then stopped here at 24. Like, what are you thinking at that point?
Okay, sorry. I know you had a decision point going south, and in fact, you had mentioned that we are in the middle. I wanted to ask you a question on that. Is it in reference to those two decision positions?
Yes, we had one. So we had the has to hold here. Yep.
Mhm.
And then there was a decision point if that has to hold held. Did I take it off? I did. It was
Yes, you
down at
did.
711. So the market had already tested both sides of it in the pre-market,
Okay.
which, like I said, it made the morning rather interesting, just because they were already testing both sides. So yeah, it was right here. They tested it, and then at the bottom they tested it also in the pre-market, which was down to 711, I think. Yeah, 711. So you're right. I had that posted
Mm-hmm.
in the event that the has to hold holds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's this is great. Who's wrong, right? Like when it comes to trading, just trading 101, you don't have a crystal ball, but you're interacting with the market at these market decision points. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. You get one guy, he wakes up, he sees whatever he sees. Again, it's just it is what it is. And like Bob, he just takes it long from the decision point. His first thing, which is in his video, which is great. Thank you, Bob. First thing you must do, because if you have to play by the rules, otherwise you're going to get slammed, is you got to take some profit at the has to hold. Whereas the other person, again, nobody knows. You can only work with what you have in any given moment of the market. That's it. So the next guy says, "Well, I missed that long entry, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it short from the has to hold." Same theory, nothing changes. And I wanted that individual to know that if this has to hold does hold, they must take profit here. They must also take profit at 18 because that was the has to hold for what this had already started out to do, the upside. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person going long would have to buy here and have to buy at 18 because it's a
Okay.
has to hold to the downside. Does that make sense?
Yes. I
Yeah.
was a little. I didn't really understand because of the decision point going down.
Mhm.
I would have stayed out until we go above the decision point in both directions. So I don't know how if I'm looking at it
Okay.
properly.
This is trying to answer your question, which was what is the furthest points of the scenario? And I'd said that both a hurdle and a has to hold can both be that furthest point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, had that held, it's important because people need to be able to gauge risk reward, right? You have to know, well, what are we aiming for? Okay, well, we're aiming for this decision point down here back at 711. So again, if you got in at the has to hold, you had to
Mm-hmm.
have planned out your profit taking, right? Well, there's
Mm-hmm.
one,
Mm-hmm.
there was two,
Mm-hmm.
and there's three.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
This
Yeah.
way, you're also not giving up a trade too soon. Because again, it's all the same premise, right? Like if I don't know where I'm trying to get to, then how exactly do I gauge, what is my risk to reward? What am I willing to go for?
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So had it again, looking at this little drawing scenario I had here, let's just imagine, because again, this, in my opinion, is a little bit more atypical. Whereas this, what it did back, on last Thursday, that's more normal. That's normal behavior for the market. It hits a hurdle or even has to hold. Again, where's the decision point? Well, it's right here. It's way more normal for the market to come back, retest at least the decision point to kind of give like the thumbs up to say that yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take it up again. But even in that case here, like again, I'm just playing out a scenario that is more normal. The same deal would have happened. Like, let's say you shorted here at the has to hold, and your first profit target was here at the decision point. Okay. Whereas the next person who maybe missed the short said, well, shoot, we've already proven that we can get through the decision point. So they're not wrong. Okay. They're 100% on they're tracking. They're doing perfectly fine. They bought here. They also have to take profit back here at the has to hold. That makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
So who's wrong?
It's just based on how you
Right, right.
analyze
No,
things.
nobody's
Yeah.
wrong. Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody loses in that scenario. Even ultimately, somebody's going to, because you have to. Ultimately, it
Mhm.
has to pick a direction. But we've also seen the markets where it bounces between here for absolutely ever. Do you remember those days? It's
Yeah.
like if you just kept taking it short because you were on the short side, and this guy kept taking along from the long side, me could have racked up two, 3 trades and been like, and I'm done. Right? I mean, that's 20 points because both are still true until one of them breaks. And it's you can beat your head against a wall till forever trying to figure out, well, which one's ultimately going to play out. Nobody knows. No one has a clue.
In fact, I took the Hatfield to the south because in your commentary you said we have. I mean, since Friday we've recovered so much, so we are
Mhm,
somewhere around the sell area. So
mhm.
that's made me took the bias to go down first.
Yeah, that's what I did. I took the short here at the Hasta hole. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I was super hopeful to get back to the decision point.
So was the had to hold upside. You said it was too much for you. You didn't want to pay that price. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like to go long here. I didn't want to go long.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it.
Yeah, I just wasn't interested. And then after it shot through, got nearly to target here at 950. I was still on the same page. Like I just left my contract sitting in here long. Matter of fact, I increased my contracts at 718.
Oh, okay.
I brought them up substantially. In fact, because again, it's the same thing. Is that if you haven't reached first target, right?
Hmm.
Then the market can go all the way back to whatever the current has to hold is. So I'm looking at that going, well, this is going to be a great day because they've blown through the decision point, they've
Uh-huh.
pushed through the has to hold, and call me a skeptic if you will. I'm usually more of a skeptic of the market in general, and usually what I find happens a lot is that they'll just rip out everybody, all their stops, and then bring it all the way back to the has to hold, and then they go to target.
Oh, okay.
And they just make it a much bigger pullback, basically. I mean, I still had contracts to go in here, which again, we just never got this. It never happened. So, is what it is. That's a great question. Does that help answer
Yes.
kind of the movement?
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
That's what I'm looking for. Because again, that's the higher percentage of the time. And you can do the same thing if you've got Chartcast. I'm sure you can just go back several days and find those scenarios. Find them where there's a decision point and then a hurdle, and find how many times, it's way more often than not, that it hits a hurdle or it has to hold and it comes right back to the decision point, and then maybe it goes to the next has to hold and then comes back through. But you'll find that this is way more frequent that it comes back for just a small pullback. It's nothing substantial.
Wow, thank you so much. I appreciate that
Yep.
advice.
Yep. Those are the ones I like. Again, it's always the same thing in mind. Like, I want a better price. I just want a better price, which also means that sometimes I don't get in. Just the same thing as you guys. If you choose the more conservative entry, well, just know that you may not get in. I didn't get in.
I have another question.
Mhm.
I think when you started, you said, is it that we are going to push higher?
Yep.
But you had said this morning that you think we have gone up enough. So what has changed?
What has changed? I mean, they got to the rubber band, they went past it. That's all that's changed.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's who was I talking to about this? Oh, it was Hollywood. Look at this as the concept of any business. Pick any business. And at some point in their business, they're trying to give out the yearly or the monthly or the quarterly projections, right? And those projections will all come true if they can get over, the marketing hurdle or the logistics hurdle or the whatever is in their business, whatever is in the way. Like, if we hire this marketing company and they really do give us the client number that they expect to give us, we know we can convert 20% of that. We can do upsells of 10% of those folks. Like, it's just projections. The market at large here, the S&P and the NQ, they're no different. They have these projections out there, but there's hurdles in the way, which again is why I recommend the pair out method. Like, take profit at the hurdles. It's fine. And don't feel bad when it does go, the whole distance and you're sitting there going, dang it, I should have held on. No, you shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have. If you got it from, kind of like Bob's video, if you made it, you had two contracts, like it was literally textbook. So I really appreciate what he has in that video. It's a textbook move based on how we lay things out and what we're trying to achieve. Because I guarantee you, here at, what is this, 10:15, after that thing hit first target, if you didn't have already had a limit order sitting there waiting to be taken out for profit, as this thing dumped, I mean, how far to go down? 58 to 50. As it lost 8 points, who here would have really held on? Nobody. Everybody panics. Everybody is like, oh, crap. And then you end up getting out down here 6, 7, 8 points worse than what you would have if you'd have just had a limit order sitting at the profit target. Like, no, it was absolutely textbook. It was fantastic. And if he had a third contract, then he would have put it here. If he had a fourth contract, he'd have put it here. Right? That's perfect. It's exactly how you should play it. That way you're never really losing. You're never at a loss of, what should I do? Like, it's all laid out here for you. It's just a matter of the entry, which I know that is by far and away the the biggest struggle. So we do these BOSs really to frankly help people with the entries. But yeah, they're supports, resistances, decision points. Because again, it depends on where we're starting the day off with. Like, we don't, there is no support in this scenario. That happened, Sunday evening at whatever 6:22 p.m. Sunday night. That was support. Were you awake? Was I awake? Was I watching the market? No. Okay, well, support's over. Support's gone. So where are we starting the day off with? Okay, well, we're basically, we started the day off here 6:25. Yeah, we started the day off with a decision point. That's what we had. Okay. Yes, I would love for it to have been much better, but it wasn't. I wish it was. I wish they'd have come back to 18, but they did not. Good question. Mhm. Yeah. Right. Yep.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Marky Mark.
Hey, hey, hey.
How's the Funky Bunch?
Doing all right. Hey, just on Bob's comment there, George, maybe I'm under the wrong impression, but a couple times I've posted my trade and you've said put it in the DM. You don't want to influence people a certain way and like that.
He's talking about the core trade, not the chat in the daytime, not
Ah,
intraday. Yeah, yeah,
okay. All
not
right.
intraday.
I
Yeah,
understand. All right. So we shouldn't put these in the chat as during the.
not the chat because I'm with you 100%. The problem with intraday trading, right, is that it influences people in the moment, which kind of like what Shush and I were just going over. You get a scenario that looks more normal, and you got one guy taking a short and one guy taking a long.
Yeah.
Neither are wrong yet. Neither person can be faulted for that decision. So it's best that we basically leave people to their understanding of really what, like, again, what are we teaching? So yeah,
Okay. So that's the core room. Okay.
yep,
All right, that's a great idea. Great idea. Keep it. Yeah, yeah. What I tried today was at I try to combine a little bit of price action knowledge with the levels and everything. To me they're complementary if they can.
mhm,
So like at 12:30, okay, I see that as a second retracement here down below. At about 67, 65 in that area there. I I went long at that point, and I used my
mhm,
profit target as the rubber band, and I
mhm,
had another contract where I used a second profit target as the has to hold.
mhm,
And
yep,
you see what I'm looking at. First of all, on the first retracement, I see a double bottom, and I know you don't spend too much worth on those types of candles and stuff, but I saw a double bottom, and then it went up to the rubber band, retraced down again, which was to be expected. It happens
mhm,
all the time. And
yep,
then I entered at that point, at 67, 63 or whatever it was, and
yeah,
rode up.
because you can draw bands. Like I just draw bubbles, but I mean, if you guys want, you can do this on your own, right? You can. It's more specific to price, so that it can be a smaller band, of course. But like to your point, this is exactly what we're talking about. It's just price, right? So yes, if it gets to the rubber band, as we say, great. Now it has to prove itself out back below. So again, this is going right back to Shush's. Like, who's wrong here? Nobody. I took it short from the rubber band, and I just got out once it got to first target. Okay,
Right.
I wasn't wrong. It's a valid trade. Why is it a valid trade? Well, we just got to rubber band. Okay, great. So the next guy steps in and goes, "Well, we don't seem like, to your point, we don't seem to be pushing through the second target." So you can take it back up.
Yep.
Yeah,
I,
nobody's
I,
wrong
yeah,
in
I
that
wouldn't
sense.
have gotten in at that first second target. No, I would not have gotten in there. I don't know which way it's going at that point. But the fact that it reversed and then came
Mhm,
back to that second target again gave me more confidence.
mhm. Yeah, that's perfect because what you're, I like this. This is great. You're using just years or whatever it is of just watching price action, and that's where the it's a bit of the unknown is. Sometimes you can sit there and have somebody sit right over your shoulder, and they're like, "Well, why did you do that?" And sometimes it's very hard to explain. Like, I've seen this before, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've seen this movie. I, I got a good hunch here based on, again, you're piecing it all together. Like, okay, we went here, we went there, we achieved this, we achieved that. Oh, we got to our van. Okay, we're back here. Like, you've seen all of it, and that's really what exactly. It's perfect. That's what we're trying to get people to.
And kudos to Bob for
Okay, okay.
that YouTube video today. That was great. That's the type of thing that is attractive, to I think to people watching that and say, I want more of that. So congratulations, man. Eh, No comparison.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's all in reference to, yeah, like what we're talking about. As long as you're engaging with the market at the, like, we only have, like, if you were on the short side today, you had two options. That was it. The whole day you had two options. You could try it once right here at the has to hold. You could try it the other time up here at the rubber band. Now, I guess you could have tried it up here, but that was getting way late in the day. Either way, and all it takes is engaging with the market at the decision points. That way you're not left, with a huge loss.
George,
Yes, sir.
as you go through stuff, I arrived late. Sorry. Um, you said something just now. If you were on the short side, you only had two like engagements, right?
Yep.
Because and that's an interesting one for me, right? Because what I'm trying to understand is what would have placed you on the short side today, given everything you posted on, Chartcast, giving
Mhm.
all of the price
Upside.
action that occurred at each placement of
Yep.
the chart cast items, right? So if you've already covered this, it's just my fault for being late. But
No, you're fine.
what would have placed you on the short side
Yeah,
today?
because again, that's
I mean, at
where.
all, right? Unless you're, I mean, I guess because I'm East Coast. I mean,
Sure.
I'm West Coast, right? I'm up at 4:30, so that's 7:30 for all you East Coasters, market time, and then all your across the country guys, you're on all other time, across the world times, you're on different time zones. But if you're somebody who got up at 4:30
Mhm.
and then engaged the market at 5 a.m., let's say, which would have been 8 a.m., what would have put you on the short side?
Yeah, it's this is where you have to disassociate what you feel versus what the market's telling us, and it's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
But
The
when you
market
say
gave
that,
us,
let
but the
me go
market
back,
gave
right?
us a, yeah, the
I
market
got to
gave
go
us a
back to you,
has to
George.
hold.
I got to
Good.
go back, right? When you say disengage, right? So you just said out loud, right? Like
Mhm.
there's if on the short side there was only two options, but what I'm trying to figure out is what would have put you on the short side because you were on the short side. You
Yes,
obviously started way longer than I did, or way earlier than I did today, and I guess I'm just trying to
I
figure
actually
the
I actually
piece out.
didn't
What
today, but
shifted to where someone said, "You know what? My short side is incorrect. I'm long side," and then find that chasing entry wherever it could have been. I don't know. It's just an odd question. I arrived late, so I'm way,
sure.
yeah. If you already covered it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Good. Mhm. Yep. Yep. Does that make sense, Ryan? But when I say there's only two options.
No, no, no. I got you.
Okay.
I yeeted into a long and moved forward, right? And I took my long and moved on, and I had
Yeah.
AWS issues, so that was the last trade I ever took. I'm
Oh.
fine with my green today, but it was just more. It just came to that comment. I'm not. George, you are amazing. This is in no way, shape, or form on anything. There are very specific trades you take, and they are fantastic, and they are disciplined, and I lean on your kind of like your discipline and your desire for reaching the outskirts and then taking a trade that will have a successful outcome, right? And so your setups, your trade plan are fantastic to ensure that, and it's just having that, I don't know, that discipline to follow those things. I today just yeeted into a long and called it a day. Everything worked out fine with all the AWS issues, so it's okay for me on
Hmm.
my actual trading program. But it's just one where that comment struck me as I was trying to figure that out, because based on where I started the day, there was the marketplace climbing through all of the core and everything that occurred.
Yep.
There wasn't anything that gave me a short, so that was all.
Because I started today actually. I started late. I didn't trade anything until market open. That's just the way my morning worked out today. So had I been awake earlier, and I knew only later, because again, I gotta go back and see it. I knew that this was a decision point down here at 11, which they already tested. Then yeah, you could have counter trend traded that one, but again, I wasn't here for it. So here's what it is. And based on what I had done research wise, it looked to be that it was going to come back again, at least to the decision point, if not the 718. So I was again trying to get a better price, and it didn't work out for me.
think I think I had the same thought process, just like Bob said. Based on the commentary, I was taking a short at the eight has to hold, and I had limit orders at the rubber band. So based on the commentary,
Mhm.
that's what my thought process was.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to shake, and this is why I tell people don't flip flop, right? Don't be a flip flopper, because it's hard to shake that mentality. But if you're already looking at it from the lens, which again I was really trying to get to the 718, it just didn't happen. But that being said, I was not prepared today. I started late. I knew I started late, is what it is. I was not prepared to take it long, but it doesn't change the fact of what's there, which is again why we lay out, factually, what is the market telling me. So even I miss trades, even I have to take losses. It's perfectly fine. I'm just trying to take short losses. So yeah, I lost a point and a half on this one. I got like seven or something out of this one. That was my whole day. Like, oh well. Mhm. And I think it was Mark. You and I were covering this one at some point, but it's usually at a decision point. You can see right here at 9:25 on the first test of the decision point. It's usually better to try to counter trend trade them. So yeah, when I saw your video, I was like, "Ooh, let's see if that works out." Obviously, we already happened, but I was just like, all right." It was the second touch exactly. I looked back at that later. I was like, "Oh no, it already did touch it once." Okay, okay. Well, yeah, you'll see this a lot. And again, I'm just trying to get people used to, again, what is the higher percentage of things that the market tends to do. And yeah, usually they'll go to a decision point, and either A, they just don't go through it all. This little wick here was kind of like, a little hint, we're going to try to push through that. And then it just didn't come down far enough. Not for my liking. Ryan, YouTube live, can't hear lots of people's dialogue. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure how to adjust that. Okay. Yeah, great questions. We're just trying to get used to, again, the repetitiveness of the scenarios and just the recognition that the market just does these things on repeat over and over and over. So, yes, where do you engage, right? We already got the targets. I feel like that's the easiest thing because it's telling us two things: where are the projections? So, what's the potential? And simultaneously understanding that that could also be as far as they take it, right? Like they've made the projections. Can we get there? If we can, take profit accordingly and be prepared to get out if that thing only hits, say, target number two, gets back through target number one, depending on where you got in, right? Was it a day you got in at the has to hold? All right, you better bring your stop up just to make sure you don't get a loss on the remainder of it. Did you get in at the decision point? That's a hard one. I'm not gonna lie. It's always a difficult one when it gets to like target number two. If I've taken this long in a scenario like this, and I've taken profit one and two, I usually take my stop and I bring it down. I'm accepting the fact that I'm probably going to lose money on the last whatever number of contracts I got running. Because again, from target two to decision point is the hot zone. And they can bring it back there as many times as they want and still take it back up, to the rubber band and so forth.
Uh, okay. I have a quick one here.
Mhm.
I think what he was saying, I think that based on the analysis we had, why wouldn't you go long? Why would you even think of going short? I don't know if that's
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
question.
Because again, based on what I was researching this morning, there was a huge emphasis that they could bring it back to 718.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There
That
was
makes
a
sense.
there was a lot at play down here at 718. So I was banking on them to, again, you still take profit accordingly. So if I've gone at the has to hold, I still am taking profit here, right? At the 37 half. Like I'm not changing that at all. And I'm still looking to take profit probably a couple times, honestly, just because of the core through here, and then yeah, rebuy and go long at 18. So basically, it would be a flip flop in a sense, but it was very well laid out in my head exactly how I planned to do it. So, and it wouldn't matter, right? Like if again, just play it out in your own minds. If I took it short from here, profit here, went long here, and it still broke through, it's fine. I made all the money I need through here, and then I took a small loss on the bottom end, and then I'm done. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking for the pullback, as I always am, trying to find the pullback. But yeah, you guys can do this too. Like I said, you can take and draw it on your own charts. Kind of like Mark was saying earlier, you took it long from there. That's perfectly fine because it's logical, right? Like he's not trying to engage with the market at illogical places. He's not trying to make up his own level. And that's the whole point. It's price. It's all price. And price for that second target was 65 half, right? So that's just it. That's price. And yeah, it wicked through it by a few points, but yeah, he's right. It didn't really solidify below it. So good on you. Anybody else? Anybody wants to cover something? I think Hollywood, you had something the other day, and I told you bring it up in a BOS. Do you remember what it was? Because I don't.
Not off the top of my head. I've been trying to rack my brain trying to remember what it was. There was something, but I don't remember.
Yeah, you had said something. I was like, oh, that's great. Let's discuss that because everybody needs to hear that, no matter how many times we've heard it.
I don't remember.
Okay. I know a lot of it boils down to it's really the single biggest thing for everybody, right? It's entries. You get the entry right, nothing else really matters, whether you make it all the way to targets or not. Like you're in the green, you're profitable. So again, let's stick to what is. When you get retraces back to decision points, when you get past the holds, and even this, right? Like the rubber band, and again, this is a 100%. I can't stress that enough. This is the 100% counter trend trade because I mean, you know, it'd be too much of a rocket scientist to look and say we are just going up. So yes, if you take that, you are fully committing to a counter trend.
I'm still not good about jumping in front of that train like you are. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it depends on the day. And again, I don't take the short ones. Like this was worth enough. It had enough meat on the bone. Could have gotten from, you know, at least a target one even. So it was enough meat on the bone to try it.
Okay, I have a question based on what Mark said. He said he took the second target up long based on the price action. I
Yep.
think sometimes I struggle with that price action because it was confusing my trade. I base everything on just the levels. I know you had said, based on your math, you would rather take it from the rubber band or from the first target.
Rubber band. Okay.
Yeah, you would rather. I think you mentioned that you take it at rubber band, you do a trade counter trade at rubber band, or go long on the first target.
Not that I.
And you
Yeah,
hardly
I
take
don't
trade
think I
from
said
there.
that. I don't think I said that I prefer. Like I'm just telling you what I did today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like again, I had it in my head early on that we were going to get to 718. Didn't happen.
Mhm.
So as it pushed through the first target, I don't, because I don't recommend this to anybody ever. I don't recommend buying here. Like we just hit first target. Chances are much better that it's going to come back and revisit the decision point.
No. I meant after we've gone to the rubber band and it's hit the cycle. I mean, going back and forth.
Right. I guess what I was saying is that I already had it in my head. I was trying to get 718, so I took it short once.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't play out. As it rolled up, I realized that I would be chasing to do anything long at this point. So I was like, well, I don't chase. So I'm just leaving it alone. And so I was like, my last option for the day, personally, was I could take a short at the rubber band and see if that worked. Does that make sense?
Yes, but then would you have taken a position just like Max said
Mark?
from target two up?
If I would have, so let's say that it played out a little more in line with what I was seeing this morning with my research. If it had gone has to hold back to decision point, I would have taken it long. Okay. And I usually put on enough contracts that I can do this. So I would have taken it long. Target, sorry, same thing. So profit, 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 and I wouldn't be out of contracts. Okay. So if it comes back, I'm already in a long from down here with more contracts running. Right.
Okay.
So yes, to what Mark did, I absolutely would have added in additional contracts here and here. They've just been sitting there with limit orders, waiting for them to come down, dip, pick up more contracts, dip further. I don't care. Why? Because I got in way down here.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I'm fine. Like even if this thing collapses, my average is probably going to end up near POC. So even if it comes all like it rips through all of this and goes back to POC and stops me out, I still made money. Not as much money, but I still made money. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's totally based on what map you have laid out for your trades. How many contracts are you getting in? Exactly like I was just kind of describing. If it was like Bob's, he did it again. It was textbook. I love it. Absolutely freaking phenomenal. Profit, profit. You're done. Now, could Bob have counter trend traded the rubber band? Sure. He didn't want to. Did he have to? No, he already made money. Could he have bought here to try to take it back to the rubber band and beyond? Sure. Did he have to? No, he already made money. Right? So, yeah, like at some point you're like, that was a good run. Like, what was that, Bob? 20 points? Yeah, just about. It was a 20-point run. Like, what do you need? What are you after per day?
And I added a contract and actually got it out at second target there. It's pretty good.
There you go.
But then my third contract, I had to break even because I was leaving. But I try not to cry over spilt milk because it did go to the rubber
Yeah.
band.
You did, but it doesn't matter. Did better than I did. I didn't catch any of it. I was like, why? Why did you not go back to 718? I'm still actually going through material. I'm trying to figure out what happened. It kind of bothered me the rest of the day. And I knew it. So I was like, I just need to not trade anymore. That was annoying to me. Cool. What else? Yeah, a lot of it just, again, it's just an emphasis on interacting as close to the market at these major decision points you can. And when you miss them and you're not feeling it, and you're like, well, like I was this morning, then so be it. It's not going to chase it. Just leave it alone. That's usually when I screw something up. Like, oh, I know what they're doing. And that's usually the point where I involve, and then they turn on me, and I'm like, what happened? Yeah, I'm not impervious to this stuff. We all trade the same markets. I was just happy they gave us something clear today.
Okay, well,
We'll see what happens tomorrow.
Thanks for your time, George. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, in the overnight, in Globex, I only think it's really super clear. We had said it earlier today, but watch. I think it's 410. Yep. So you got a pretty major hurdle at 410 on the NQ, and yeah, 824 half. Yep, 824 half on the ES. So we'll see where we're at in the morning. But like, again, you guys can mark your own charts with those now. They will hold true through the morning. We'll see what happens.
And 394 is the all-time high, so it's probably going to reach for it.
394. Oh, that's right.
That's where it was before the tariff drop, like 10
Yeah.
days ago.
And then what was it? I think 812.5 was the all-time high on the ES. Yeah, if they get through 24, it's going to be a beeline to 93. That'll be impressive. All right, guys, if you got nothing else, we'll call it an evening. Oh, I forgot. Bob and I are putting together a series of videos pertaining basically to exactly the stuff we talk about in the BOS. So, if you would all who are listening, do me a favor. Everyone just pick a question that you would want to see a video on that you would say, man, if I could get that on repeat to watch over and over and over and over again, that would be super helpful. And then just put them in the trade room discussion. Yeah, we've already got some plans, but that would be great.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I want to kind of blend it in, start to lead it into really a lot of what we're talking about, like where are the key levels, so that folks who are maybe traveling or whatever, maybe they don't even have time to be in the room, but maybe they can do chartcast, right? Then even if they're not listening to some of the commentary, some of the stuff should become pretty clear. And just they understand, like, oh crap, we just blew through a decision level, and look at that, there are targets out ahead, and oh look, there's a hurdle in between here and there. So it just kind of helps people be a little bit more flexible with, maybe you don't have to be in the room all the time.
Lonely place if we're not in here.
True, but you might be traveling and doing something fun, which is what I'm hoping for.
We are coming up on track season soon, so cross country is finishing. So yes, I will.
Nice. Just pull your computer up and like, oh, look, we got a has to hold. And nobody has to explain it to you. You're like, great. I'll jump in there. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, just the core trade room discussion group. If everybody would please do me that favor, that honor, something to that effect. Like, can you explain? Like, we already have a list. Like, I'm gonna go over like has to holds. But yeah, I just want to hear from you guys. So, all right.